Fly Casual Creative. Seems to be taking off nicely. How do you plan on continuing to establish the label this year and beyond? And can we expect you to come out with any new artists that we've not heard of really yet?
I mean, that's basically, Fly Casual is basically, the foundation for our creative visions. You know what I mean? Whether it be me or me and 7L, or 7L's project with the Beyonder called Blade Runners. They're a DJ crew. We would definitely put somebody else out, but I mean, we feel like the way that the industry is shaping up, and the way it always has been, is that the artist always wants to patent their label, and no matter what happens. Like when I was on Baby Grand, I was at war with them all the time. It wasn't like that with Brick, because Brick is more of a family thing with us. But
what was it? Can I spot in? You might tell me now before me asking, but particularly with Baby Grand, of all the labels that we've worked with to get artists and we've shown our support, the only one label we've ever struggled with to ever get any communication from them to try and help them in any way has been Baby Grand. What was the battle that you had with them? Was it just purely a creative one?
It wasn't really a creative one, because surprisingly enough, they were 100% behind a New Dope, which was kind of our breakout record in terms of pushing the envelope and doing something different out of a standard format that we were kind of known for. And they were all for that, and they backed that record a lot. So it wasn't a creative thing. It was just in terms of, I think a lot of artists jump into situations where they give the label so much control, and the label will go out and spend all their money and take out ads and double XL without your approval. I mean, that's just an example. That's not what happened with us. But, they'll spend all your money up. When it's time to make some money on the back end, there's nothing left. You know what I mean? You're going to get your, 5-figure advance, and you can do what you can with that, but you're never going to see it on the back end, because they're spending up that money for you one way or the other. Whether you know how it's being spent or not, it is getting, put in the books. Anything you can think of, they're charging you right off, so they don't have to come out of their pocket anymore, pay you. You know what I'm saying? So I think in any situation when you're trying to blow up an indie artist, it's always the artist's view that the label isn't doing enough, no matter what. It's the label's fault if you ain't on. So we understand that, because we kind of have both perspectives from a label and as artists. So, I mean, bringing someone else into the fold, I wouldn't want to put that type of pressure on us to really, have this guy thinking we're going to take him to, MTV or this or that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, it's not why we do the music. We do the music because we enjoy it, and we make a little bit of money off of it. You know what I mean? I mean, that's kind of why we do it. The things that make me happy are making music, and my family, and my dog. I mean, that's it. So it's pretty simple for us. I'm not looking at being on, taking us to the music awards, or, getting on MTV and stuff like that. That's not something I'm too focused on. I like doing interviews like this. I like getting some props in a magazine, a print magazine, and, reading some positive stuff online. That's what kind of motivates us. And doing shows. We're in Utah right now with Jedi Mind Tricks. We got a show tonight in Salt Lake City, and I know the crowd's going to be wild, and that just feels incredible to us. So.
Yeah, it's fascinating. This is what it should be like. I mean, I love doing interviews. I don't just do interviews like, any shout-outs. I love, it's fascinating talking to you about all these different things, particularly with the label situation. That's a new perspective we've not heard. We've heard about artists, like you said, saying that labels don't put you out, they put you on the back burner, but to say that, they'll put you out, but they won't tell you that they've done this, and they'll then reverse that and start charging you for it, and it all starts coming back on you. Without any further ado, let's go to the listener questions that are coming. We'll just select a few if that's okay. Somebody's saying, with your history of dissing Weathermen, what are your feelings on Cage's new beat with Vast Air?
Okay. Cage's beef with who?
Vast Air.
Geez, I don't know, man. I don't know how to answer that question. The way I look at it is this. I had a beef with all those guys at one point, and I had to pick apart their crew, and I know that they're all mad at each other now, so I just kind of wash my hands of the whole thing, and they can all tear each other apart, but I know that my angle was kind of attacking them as a unit, and now they're not a unit anymore, so that makes me feel kind of validated. But in terms of a beef with any of them, I don't have any beef with it. They can do their thing. I know that they're Cage did a whole image switch and stuff like that, and he's being himself. I think that's dope. I think that as long as he's being himself and people are being like true to who they want to be, that's cool. My hat's off to them. So there's no beef with them, and if they're people with each other, that's their business. I don't know anything about it. So.
Okay, these are just listener questions. Next question then. The album apparently is broken into 20 chapters rather than individual tracks. Can you explain that, says one listener?
Yeah, because it's a very intrinsic record, the way that it's laid out. And, some songs clock in at 1:30. Some songs clock in at, 4 minutes. I mean, it's all each different idea that I'm trying to express and carry on to the next chapter. So, I mean, they kind of get broken up into chapters in that way because sometimes skits interrupt things to kind of bridge the ideas and give the story some continuity. And we can't. One thing, I always grew up appreciating skits from like a De La Soul record or like KMD's album, but I never liked having to deal with skits once CDs came into play, like where I'd have to like cue up an ID and then I'd have to let the whole skit play out and stuff like that. So we tried to mash them in between stuff so it wouldn't really interfere with the listening experience, but it would continue with the it would help illustrate the story, which is, I think a lot of our fans are going to appreciate that. They're going to be able to sit down and listen to the record and kind of listen to it like they would read a book versus just go from track 1 to track 12. We've done enough albums like that where, it's just like banger after banger. And then this is more like headphone shit where you're trying to, dissect what I'm saying,
Certainly sounds that way from what we've heard as well. Really, everybody out there, look out for this in September, this new joint. Final couple of questions. It's related to your dream. Did you eat cheese before you slept that night? Asks Mary from Germany.
I love Germany. I don't remember. I used to drink a lot of vanilla fraps, so that's a lot of dairy. So I might have got some dairy into my system if that would what contribute to the dream, but I don't recall.
Ridiculous question from Joe in Philadelphia. Would you swap your dog for an iPod?
There's nothing I'd swap my dog for. Yeah. I think if you go onto our YouTube stuff and watch TerraVision or anything that's related to myself, you know that my dog is my pride and joy, man. I mean, check out esoterichiphop.com, spelled the way it should be spelled, and check out the 4 updates that we're doing right now and the online store and all that stuff. And thank you very much for doing the interview.
No problem at all, man. Thank you for taking the time out to do it. Wish you all the best. God bless. We'll speak soon. Esoteric.